Yeah, this time on the Kawasaki Z500. Yeah, the non-electric version of the hybrid. So let's see how we get on with that. So I reckon we'll go this way. Let's get out here. So obviously $450 cc's or thereabouts, and for about 43, about the same amount of torque. Yeah, seat height about 785, I think it might be. I might be wrong, it could be 800, so don't shoot me. It feels much lighter than the hybrid, but it does seem to go quite well. And now we're stuck behind this car, and this road is not the most generous for overtaking opportunities. So I must say, that's one there, just before the 30. Yeah, if we didn't get past then, we weren't going to. Yeah, so we've got the Game Boy dash, we've got anvil mirrors, and we've got that modern naked sports bike look. The engine feels very perky, but you're not gonna get into any real bother with it. Yeah, that's what I'd say. I think it's about 175 kilos. I don't know what the top speed of it is. I think it feels a lot smaller than the hybrid, but there you go. As a motorbike in itself, which is what we really ought to think of it as, it's very nice. I prefer the Eliminator, I've got to be honest, but that's my age, I think. I don't know these roads, so again, you've got to trust it when it says there's a bend and it says slow. But obviously in the real world, this is much more than is necessary. What I'm going to do, I'm going to stop at Snape Maltings and we can have a look round it, and we'll see it side by side with its electric cousin. I mean, if, you know, in 6th you can sit it there down these back roads and go from 40 to 60 and beyond, of course, if you wanted to break the law and you know the roads. Yeah, but it is very smooth. Watch out for dirt on the road. I don't know what's over the brow of this hill. Nothing. Yeah, so I'll bring you back when we get to Snape and we can do the walk round. So here we are back at Stonham. At Stonham, at Snape. Yeah, here we are back at Snape. Yeah, I'm getting confused of where I actually am. It's marvellous, isn't it? So we'll get in here and we'll get them both parked up here. So let's have a little look at it. There you go. A nice, simple, easy, clean little bike. Yeah. Let's change cameras. Right. So here we are. Kawasaki Z500. A simple bike. Not particularly expensive, but very effective at what it does. Single brake on the front. It's more than ample to stop it. Particularly at legal, you know, sort of speeds. Engine 44 brake horsepower and about 43 newton meters of torque. That lovely red frame matching the wheels like they do with all Kawasaki's. Yeah. Comfort, not that comfy for me, I've got to say, but all right, you know, given its price point and everything, it's all right. Yeah. It doesn't look bad, does it? And it doesn't go bad. But I tell you what, we need to find out what's it like compared to the electric cousin. Something I never showed you on the hybrid is to move it. It's got a walk mode, so there you go. You turn it all on, start the engine, push and hold the walk button. That cuts the engine. Then on the throttle, if you want to go backwards, oh, you have to put it in gear first. Yeah. If you roll the throttle away from you, it goes backwards. Yeah. And then if you roll it forward, and that's just to move it about the garage and stuff. Do you have to be sat on it? I don't think you even do. No. But we're just going to park them next to each other. And we haven't planned this. This was just a chance. Is that ignition on?
Yeah.
Turn the ignition off. Oh, don't get the battery flat. Yeah, so that's them side by side. Now, I know which one I think is the better looking bike. What do you think?
Well, if I'm honest, I think the hybrid is not a bad looking bike. It's definitely different. It's obviously something we're not used to.
Which do you prefer to look at?
I would go for the Z500.
Would you?
Yes.
I prefer the look of the hybrid.
Oh, really?
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I mean they're both nice looking bikes. I think I just prefer the Z500 a little bit more.
Okay, so that's to look at. What about handling?
The Z500, definitely, no doubt
It's
about
much lighter, isn't it?
It sticks to the road. I mean, I can throw that into a bend and have confidence that it's just going to follow it around. It soaks up the bumps.
All right, what's your normal bike? Your normal everyday bike?
I've got an old CBR 900 Fireblade.
Fireblade.
An old Fireblade.
So a naughty boy. So he's a naughty boy. We've got that picture, right? Same as Banana Man and all them lot. 160 mile an hour from the days when bikes were bikes.
Yes.
But if you could take one of these bikes home today, which would it be?
Oh, Z500, without a doubt.
Really?
Without a doubt.
Do you know what? I must be going green or something, because there's a part of me is itching to have one of those to go backwards and forwards to work on.
I think the big problem for me was I hated not having clutch control. And there's no engine braking.
And so when you're in the corners, for me, I got a bit wobbly in the corners because I just feel like I'm losing control of the gears.
Yes.
The gears lurch a bit.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I find like, especially on downshift, you're going down. I mean, I went from one point from third to first, and it didn't feel like it had gone down a gear.
Yeah.
And then when you're back on the throttle, it's very jumpy.
Yeah.
Very snatchy throttle.
Did you get an opportunity to do the boost?
I
tried to go a bit
times.
quicker to get you to go.
I tried a few times, and to be honest, I think something came up on that. I spent more time trying to look at the dash to see if it was working. I honestly didn't feel anything, and I do not like the position of that boost button. The fact that you've kind of almost got to let go of the throttle to push the button.
Yeah.
I think there would have been better having a trigger.
Okay.
Rather than for a
so did you get the full blue across?
To be honest, I was at one point I was trying to look at the dash, and then I was like, no, I've got to focus on the road, because it felt very uneasy to ride.
Okay, so when we go back, I'm going to do the senses test on this, but I'm trying to give you enough room to find somewhere to do that boost. But you've got to have the throttle, I think, at 20%.
Oh, I had it wide open at one
point. Did you?
And I
it still didn't go.
Something was coming up, and again, I didn't want to spend. I felt like I was spending more time reading the dash to see if something was happening, rather than actually riding the bike.
And that's the problem I had with it. It's so alien that you can't really enjoy it, and maybe that handling and that gear change isn't so bad when you're not having to think about it.
Yeah, I think it would take some getting used to it. I think there was one point I flashed you rather than changing up the gear.
Yes, I've done that.
Yeah, and it was also, I think there was another time I tried and change up a gear, and I obviously didn't push the button hard enough or something. But you know, I'm spending more time looking at the dash to see if it's working rather than just doing it by feel.
Yeah.
Again, because you just don't feel it changing gear.
And that's off-putting, isn't it? When when you're riding a bike, you want to just feel comfortable on it.
Yeah. I think we came to a crossroad, and I was still in third, and I'm sort of going.
But it should go automatic, but I think it's a little bit temperamental. I think there's one setting where it will actually go back to neutral if you stand still long enough. I'm not sure. But of course, one last question. £12,000, is that too much for it?
Personally, for what bike you can buy for 12 grand, I wouldn't.
Yeah. So, what's that? £5,000 between the two?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a conundrum, but if the time comes when we can no longer have that is better than an electric, would you say?
I think the problem is the technology with the batteries and the fact that they are overly expensive.
Yeah.
We're not sure on the lifespan of them and the replacement. Whereas we know an engine, that engine can do 50, 60,000 miles, and you wouldn't bat an eyelid at it.
And then probably rebuild it and do another 50,000.
You wouldn't worry too much. Whereas with the electric bike, I don't know how long you'd use it before the battery degrades and it would be a replacement.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're just throwing an old battery out.
Yeah. It's a right conundrum, isn't it? Hopefully, well, maybe not in your lifetime, but in my lifetime, I'm not going to be affected by it. I'll just ride older bikes until there's no more petrol. You've got a few more years to go.
I would like to hope I can keep mine as long as possible.
Yeah. Right, so there you go. Comparison between the Z500 and its electric cousin, the 7 Hybrid. Yeah. I didn't feel like I was going fast on that, but I felt like I was actually going quite fast on that.
I felt like I was pushing it. I didn't feel like I was going quick, but I felt like I was pushing it.
Yeah, interesting. Right, let's get back. Right, let's get back on here. Yeah, very interesting. Oh, ignition on. Just push the button and into gear. Hold the clutch in like a normal person. Yeah, marvellous. Right, so let's get out of here. And do the senses test. Where do I go? I'll go straight up. I think that's the way I came in. What does it taste like? Oh well, I I think it would be a fizzy strawberry or something like that, isn't it? Yeah, something like that. Something with a bit of fizz. Smell? Well, brand new bike. No smell of petrol. No smell of oil or water or anything. Yeah, so just lovely. Then to look at, well, a pretty generic mid-sports naked, I would say. So I'm just trying to give him some room on the hybrid behind me to use the boost. I think he found the button. It is obviously a simple bike. Oh, a trike. You know, if you don't want a generic naked modern bike, then you won't like it. But this is what they look like, and I don't think it looks bad at all. I really don't. Then what have we got? Touch and feel. Well, it's built to a price, I think, and it feels pretty decent quality. Kawasaki, I keep saying this ever since I had my W800, they don't do things by half, and so everything is good at the very least on it. Yeah, there's lots of plastic and stuff like that, but that's modern bikes. To keep the weight down, 175 kilos or something I think this weighs, which makes it highly manoeuvrable on the bends, easily stopped as well. Yeah. Then sound, well, it's a 500 parallel twin. It sounds okay. Oh, naughty boys, KTMs, straight away. As soon as you see the orange, you know you're in the company of naughty boys. It's a bit like seeing the Kawasaki green, isn't it? So what I'll do, I'll bring you back when we get nearer to Harvey's. So here we are back at the Brentwater Industrial Estate, and I've got to give this little baby back now. It's been very interesting riding both back to back, and very interesting riding this. Would I have one? I like it. Do I like it enough? I think I'd go for the, I know it sounds really boring, I think I'd go for the Eliminator, to be honest. Yeah, even though it's got a bit of a daft name, I found it very, very comfortable. I think the engine sounds better on the Eliminator than it does on this. But yeah. But here we are. A cracking little bike. It's very sporty. Handles like an absolute dream. What more can I say? But let's get them over here and out of the way. Get it in here. And I'll next to the bins. Yeah, marvellous. Get the side stand down, ignition off. There's the hybrid. and let's just have a little look at the two of them. There you go.